everyone, it's Nathan from Nathan's DIY Garage. I did the video a while back on the M52 CCV valve delete. Today we're going to do it for the M54. Okay, so here we are at the motor. This is the car that disavowed the video yesterday. We took that off. He's right here, so that was 2 bolts in there and the plug, and that set right there, of course. Next thing we're going to do is pull off the little cover here. There's these 2 things pop out of this, just like that, the little caps. There's 2 tins right here. I've already undone these. We're going to lift that off. It kind of hooks in the back. You can see the little hooks right there. We're just going to set that off to the side. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to want to pull out the air tubes. So these are held in by 4 screws. They are T25s. We're going to be using this guy right here on the battery impact. Go ahead and pull him out. Okay, and they look like this up close. Let's see if I get it. Having some shadow issues here. Look like that up close. There's little screws. Okay, so what we're going to do next, we're going to unplug the center plug right here. Tell them none of this has ever been apart. Right there, and it has a little button you push in that releases it. Okay, we're going to make sure that there's a zip tie right here. We're going to go ahead and snip that off and free the wires up. Okay, so with the zip tie cut back here, the wires are free. These little air tubes go down the intake. There's little rubber seals on there. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and pull those out. So ever so gently with a pry bar, we're going to go in here. We're just going to ever so gently pry up a little bit at a time, and that's going to release that. If you're not careful with this, probably break it and probably a bad deal. Okay. So let's go and get it pried out. Let's see if we can wiggle it up and out of there. Well, be careful not to snap it in half. Okay, so let me grab this. Okay, so this is how we're looking. It's all loose right now. And you can see there's little O-rings on the tip of it right there. There's a plastic tube going down here, which Y's and goes over to the other side. So we're not going to use this plastic tube. We're going to go ahead and cut it down below, down in here. So let me do that and I'll come back. Okay, so I was going to cut it with the razor knife, this guy right here. I just pulled up on it and it was so rotten it fell out. But if you can see here, let me get behind you. You can see the oil in the tube here and how much there is. When I pulled it off, it actually splashed out down all over the place. So this valve is definitely bad. You also see the oil all over. That stuff is just kind of filling up everything. You could also see oil inside the disavowed hole. The whole intake has oil in it, which isn't a good sign. Okay, so this is the next step. The next step, we're going to pull off the intake boot. So down here, there's going to be a clamp right there that goes to the idle air control valve. There's going to be a clamp down here that goes on top of the throttle body. So we're going to go ahead and pull that out. We're going to pull the air box out. There's one 10mm right here. All this is going to be connected. This car has never been apart before, so it's definitely going to be. I'll try to shuffle all this out of here all in one piece. And of course, don't forget to pull out your vacuum hose on top here. Okay, so here's the air box. You also have the mass airflow and the elbow out. So this end here would hook on the throttle body, and then your cold start, idle air control. So that's how we're looking inside the car. Everything's getting where you could pretty much get to it at this point. We're going to go ahead and pull out, I think there's a 10 right here. There's a little bracket. You got to take out the valve for the recirculation from the gas tank. That guy there just pulls off like that. So you're going to take out this little bracket right in here. There's a 10 there. There's 2 stars right there. This little valve pulls off there like that. That lets you be able to get to the 2 stars. We're going to come over here. We're going to take off this star right here and this 10 right here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll put you back on the tripod. Okay, so we're going to go and pull this guy here out first. There's actually 2 of them right here. They're stars. They're T40s. So let's go ahead and do that. And that's the bracket for that holds a wiring harness. And some of it's going to hold the throttle body, or the idle air control, I should say, not the throttle body. Let's go ahead and pull this guy back out. Well, let's just go ahead and use the battery impact. It's a hell of a lot faster. And I'm using the impact swivel. That's why I can get in here with this and use it. Well, that one's not going to work. It's the only problem with that impact swivel. It doesn't always swivel enough. It's made for the impact, and it has a little ball down inside of it. It's not like the old school universal joint. It actually has a band and a bar that goes through it. But that's what makes it strong. So when you use that, it doesn't lose torque, or it does, but not as much. And it doesn't fly apart hitting the face like the other ones do. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. And we're going to put the 10 back on there. Okay, so now this bracket's all getting free. The one more 10 down here. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and unplug the idle air control. Might be easier to pull it out first. Okay, so there's that. Squeeze the plug, pull it out, and there's that guy, and it's pretty dirty inside. You test these by going like that. You can hear it clicking a little bit. There, it's freed up now. We'll have to take carburetor cleaner and spray that out. It needs to flow free. If it does not, you're going to have error codes. That could cause lean code and a whole bunch of different stuff. Okay, so here we are again. We're going to go ahead and pull out this 13 right here. That takes the dipstick out. There's a hose down here. You probably can't see it on the camera. We're just going to go ahead and slice that with the razor knife. That is a rubber hose that goes from the dipstick tube up to the CCV valve. Okay, so here we are back to the dipstick removal. We're going to take the 13. We're going to go down here and take the bolt out I just showed you. Careful not to drop it. There's that guy. We're going to go with the razor knife, and we're going to cut the rubber line into. This razor knife is not very sharp, so we'll see if it's going to cut it. Nope. Alright, let me get a different one. Okay, so went in and cut off the oil tube, the vent tube going from the dipstick to the CCV. There's one wire hanger right here. Make sure he's free. Grab a hold of the dipstick. He's going to pull straight up and just wiggle it. Make sure your wire is all clear back here. Comes out like that. Okay, so here's the dipstick out. You can see the holder for the one bolt right there. Here's the wire loom. It just unclips, pushes out of there. Of course, this is the tube going up to the CCV. And right here is where it goes in the oil pan. So this has an O-ring on it. The O-ring in this case stayed in the oil pan. You're going to want to replace the O-ring. You're going to be really careful when you replace it though to make sure you get the old one out. If you double O-ring it, it's probably going to leak really bad. Also, if you're just going to run your CCV again, if you're not doing the delete, if you're just watching this video just to figure out how to get it out of the car, if this oil ring leaks, it will leak vacuum and you're going to have a vacuum leak. So this is the problem whenever you take off your oil fill tube or pull the dipstick out, the car is going to want to die. That's that issue. Okay, so the next thing to do is to go and pull out these front two screws up in here. I don't know if it's going to focus or not. Right there you can see the two T25s. That's going to take out this whole bracket here. It's going to make it easier to deal with everything. We're going to go ahead and pull out the throttle body. Let's see if it'll focus in there. And there's 4 screws. You can see one of them right. So get down there. One right there, one right there, one right there, one right there. So there's 4 of them all together. We're going to go and pull that out. We're going to unplug it. You could probably do it without taking that out, but we're going to want to clean that anyway and inspect it. Okay, so at this point in time we took 4 of these out. These go in the throttle body. Let me go and pull it out here so you can see. It's going to pull it like so. So you're going to see the 4 screws that's going to hold it in. This one had another wire loom right here. Now this car is an 01 530. This throttle body is a little bit different. I've never seen one like this actually, and I've done a lot of these cars. This one, the plug goes in towards the back. 99.9% of the rest of these E39s, the plug goes this way and it's round. So I'll have to do some research and see what exactly the year difference is. It must be only 530 because I've done 330s, I've done everything else up to 03. This car's an 01 and they all had the other style on it. Okay, so let's see once here if I could get a shot in here for you of the CCV. Let's see if it'll focus. I don't know if you can see there or not. The CCV sits in here, you can see it right there. There's going to be 2 screws holding it in. They're going to be T25s with those little star bits. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is disconnect the tube coming from the valve cover. This one was so rotten it just fell apart. So we're going to go ahead and fish the CCV out of here. And this thing is a very, 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 very tight fit. Everything's just covered in oil and nasty and greasy. A lot of times they'll break in half when you're pulling them out. You can see the oil is just oozing out of this thing. It is freaking nasty. I could probably tip it up. I won't run out. It's probably already ran out, is why. So that's the CCV. that's a complete removal. So let me go ahead and put this down, and we're going to show you how to block everything off and show you what to do. Okay, so here's what we ended up with. Ended up with 3 different things to do to block this off. Ended up with the dipstick. We're going to want to block, actually, excuse me, not block it off. Here's the hole, it goes up to the CCV. I started blocking them off. I don't like that. I'm fearful that the engine can't breathe enough, can't vent enough. It might push the seals out. I've been taking a piece of rubber hose, a new hose, going to O'Reilly's or AutoZone, buying a little filter. You could push in there, a hose clamp it on so it could vent through there. The next one is up here. This guy right here does have to be blocked off. That's actually a vacuum leak. That's going to be a vacuum leak because it goes into the intake, to the runners. Obviously that's going to leak. So we're going to block that off. You can block it off here. That's difficult to deal with. I like taking a piece of rubber hose and either run it from here to here together, or just blocking them off individually. You could do either way. Doesn't really matter. Just make sure whatever you do is airtight. Usually use a piece of hose with a bolt and a clamp, or double clamp it. If you can find a piece of round stock, you can use that too. Whatever you prefer. If you want to get really tricky with it, you could probably tap these up here and do that. I like putting this back in for a stock look. When you put this back in, you do want to wipe off the little O-rings on here. Usually put a little WD-40 or a little bit of grease and slip them back in. They go in real easy. Put your bolts back in. The next thing is going to be right here, the valve cover. This one's the same way. You could leave it open. I have been leaving them open. I think I might start doing the vents on it. Whatever steam comes out of it from the engine, then I'll keep that knocked down. It's the same way. You could pull this off of here. If this hose is good, you could clamp something in the end of it down out of sight. This one is not good. I'll probably get a piece of rubber hose that fits on this well, put a clamp right there, go under the intake with a rubber hose, and put a filter and zip tie it up under there somewhere. So this is a complete M54, M52TU CCV oil separator delete. This will fix your lane codes. This will fix your rough idle. This will actually fix your what do I want to say here? Your oil smoke problems, your possible oil smoke problems, your oil loss. If that valve ruptures, it'll actually pull the oil out of your motor. If it ruptures all the way, you can see right here in this little corner here, that is the diaphragm. On the V8 cars, you could just pop this round piece off and just replace the diaphragm. These cars, you can't get to it. Even if you could, all these hoses are always just rotted so bad. There's no reason to just do that. One thing I did not show you, this car is actually blocked off. The rest of them have a vacuum line that goes from here up to the fuel rail and hooks on the fuel rail. This 530 doesn't have it. Some of these cars are slightly different. They do take all the same valve though. The throttle body is the only thing I noticed so far that was actually different on this car. Okay everyone, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I upload videos every day. Also look me up on Facebook, Instagram, Nathan's DIY Garage. Thank you.